Hey, welcome to the weekly, it's not the weekly wrap up anymore, Trading Crypto this week. So it's been another boring week of sideways slow decline. So I expect about 10 people to join us today. I don't think there's anyone left in crypto. I think I'm talking to my echo chamber out there of 10 people. So if you're there, come and say hi and the chat. And I probably won't look at alts because they're all bleeding to death. I'm going to look at BTC and ETH for sure, and we'll see how we go there. But it's FOMC week, and I'm expecting a little bit of volatility. Most of the price is kind of built in. So regardless of whether we go up or down, it's what is meant to be this week. And I think we've got, a little bit of down at the moment. We've broke down below the area on BTC. I'll bring that chart up in a moment, but it's not looking great out there. It's kind of looking a bit ugly as usual. So let's jump into it and see what BTC is actually going to do today, other than sideways and slow decline. So here we go. And hey, Robert, the future is bright. I hope so. And once we finish all of this slow bleed on BTC, the future is bright because, once we finish the bearish sort of patterns, we always go up. So whether that, we've got institutions in now, so whether that's up like we've seen before, and as I've explained, we've broken down past that super cycle pattern, so we're now in quite a bearish pattern. Was this the bottom? We're still holding that bottom at the moment at that 59, sort of 200, 300-ish, depending on exchange. So this region here is still holding. So we had a couple of different patterns. We still could be in this A, B, C, and that takes us potentially. So this C wave can go as high as 100. So that's the, the mega bullish pattern. According to Elliott Wave, we can get to the 1.236. We can even get to the 1.618 on that pattern. So 112,000 on a C wave looks extreme, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility if we get some really good news. I'm not going to hold my breath for that one, but keep it in the back of your mind as a possibility because stranger things have happened. We always need to be aware of those. We've got a couple of major pivots before we do get there. 72,712 is a major pivot. 87,378 is another major pivot. 103. That 103 mark has been untested for quite some time. So this is an hourly. I'm just going to take this up a bit higher. I'm going to go up to the daily and just show you what that 103 mark is. So this was this previous support region here at that 103. We didn't get a retest to retest that decline. We just went down forever. So that's my 112 is my 112, 113 is my mega bullish scenario at the moment. So when we're looking at bearish scenarios, we need to flip it and go the other way. And you guys know I like a bullish scenario because I trade spot mostly. So let's drop that back down to the hourly and look at where we are structurally in this pattern. So if we've just got a dead cat bounce and the cat is dying, then potentially where next stop here is about 62 potential bounce and then decline around sort of 56-ish. So it could go a little bit lower. Now, the reason I think we're sideways again at this point, we've come back, we've broken down out of this bear flag, we've come back down and we've retested at the moment. So that could be just a shakeout of a few longs, taking out a lot of those at the moment, and then we push it back up to where we were. So that could be just a liquidity sweep. It could be sort of, the start of this downward trend pattern, or it could be that B wave completing. So because we did do a low here. So if that B wave has completed, then we are on the C wave, and minimum for the C wave is around 76. That takes us to that previous support now as a resistance. So going back up at the 4 hour and looking at that. So that's quite a strong resistance now. So this was quite a strong support region, and it's now a resistance. So if we go up higher, even higher on that one, you'll see that this comes like along this region. So this is March. We go right back to the all-time high, and we're sort of sitting around that region on this resistance now. So this was resistance, resistance, resistance. We came back down, kind of support region here, and untested. So that's sitting at this point here, which is, when we do that correctly, it's at the 618. So that's at the 80,000 to the 81,000 mark for our C wave. That would wipe out a lot of bears. It would sweep a lot of liquidity the other way. And that's what we need to always look for. Are we sweeping liquidity up? Are we sweeping liquidity down? Because when we get into these sections here, there's not a lot of market liquidity anywhere. Because most people are going, hell no, I'm not trading that. All I'm doing is losing money. So if I was a bear, I'd probably push it down one more wave. I'd hold the low. Or if I was a whale, sorry, I would push it down one more wave. I'd hold that low at 60,000, and then I would take it back up to 81. So that would shake out everyone. And then I'd drop it back down again, because that's how they work. So at this point, we get to that resistance, and if we don't break through, we go back down, and that's when we see those 56, maybe even 50K. So, and is that the bottom, or are we just sort of sweeping this region for an unlimited time? Because we could go into an extended pattern at that point. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at for BTC. We didn't get the cross on the higher time frames on those EMAs and those SMAs. So it's kind of a bit sad out there, and we just really need this to start moving. So we have 50, this is a 4 hour, and the 4 hour has 50 SMA resistance, and that is not showing that we've got a lot of strength at the moment. So we are down the bottom on the stock. We do still have bullish, we've had bullish divergence on this 4 hour chart for such a long time, so since the beginning of January. So at some point, something needs to give. So market is saying, okay, we've got enough fear in the market again. We've got enough sell pressure happening. Maybe we need a bit of a bounce coming soon. So that might be that C wave. So just be aware, 80,000 can go up as high as 112 for a C wave. We start breaking those patterns and getting higher than that, then we're like, okay, this is flipped again. But I don't think we flipped. I honestly don't, unless we see a whole lot of liquidity coming into the market. This is not looking great out there at the moment. So long-term pattern, we are still sitting above that sort of, there's a pivot there sitting at 59. 659. We held that pivot. Likely 53 to 56 is a golden zone. BTC withholding. So if this is a 1, as I showed you last week, this is a 3, and we're doing the 4th wave at the moment. BTC loves a 786. So, that's at 38,000. That's probably the cheapest Bitcoin we're going to get for a while if we do get down that low. So, and then that's heading back up, and that would then do a new all-time high. So depending on where we're going with that. So whether it breaks those resistance points or not, that's kind of sitting at that 140,000 mark. And that's a really good climb to that point. And then we go into that correction again. So that is one potential. We're not there yet. We're still in the mid bleed and not doing a hell of a lot at the moment. So there's not much more to say about that. We do have FOMC, so I expect a little bit more volatility, hopefully some more liquidity coming into the market, but it's not looking great. When we're looking at the USDT market cap, we're still sitting within this range. We do want a retest of that 6.5 mark. Now, if that happens, that correlation with BTC is doing the C wave going up, and then USDT dominance is coming down because everyone's going into crypto because the market is green. So that is still a strong potential at this point, especially with this bearish divergence on this chart and bullish divergence on BTC. So if we're looking strictly at divergence, we're seeing bearish divergence on stables, and then bullish divergence coming in across crypto. So that should, once liquidity re-enters, we haven't got liquidity yet. So once liquidity re-enters the market, that's what we're going to see. When that happens, let me get my crystal ball, because every week I come on and I'm just like, well, this is the patterns we see. This is the slow bleed pattern. This is the potential bull pattern. And this is like literally we've got 12 people watching. And that's like, normally I get about 500 people on this, and the last few weeks, whether it's X or whether it's YouTube or, just suppressing it. But we just don't have the people in crypto at the moment. So that explains why we don't have the money, because the whales keep wiping us out. The whales keep liquidating everyone, and it's just not happening. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So jumping into ETH, we've rejected again for ETH and heading down. So more than likely it's going to test lower. So around, I've got something over my chart, probably about the 2.7-ish on this chart if we get one more wave down. So if we hold this low here, then potentially ETH is heading up and challenging BTC at this point. So again, we've got the slow bleed pattern, which we have followed for ETH. This is a squiggle that I did in at Getting Started in Crypto. So we're also, this is a 4-hour. We're super, super low on these indicators. We've got bullish divergence for days, and, so much congestion happening on the MACD. When we take it up to the daily, we've had a daily buy on my indicators saying, hey, this is going up, which it hasn't. It just hasn't gone up. It's gone down and sideways. But it does look like we're potentially, going for that channel support on ETH. Now, looking at this, we're getting a retest up again of this B wave that's just come down. So if we're looking at this similar pattern that we're seeing on BTC, this is the daily, the 0.05, which is usually kind of, it can be lower. If it's a bit bearish, it will get to the 382, which is about 2.4. Now the 0.05 is sitting at 2637. Now that's normally our minimum. That's a major directional pivot on Ethereum, so which is sitting just above at 2,787, and that's also the 100 MA. So that would be an ideal touch to say, okay, we're nearing the end of this. And then we get that final wave down, comes down, touches that channel support, which is sitting at 1490. And then we are off and kicking. So ideally, I'd love to see that major directional pivot touched at 2787. So that is what we want to see. So that means the C wave is possibly going up to the 618 if we get that directional pivot held. Now, we need a lot more liquidity coming into the market, and you guys have all gone. So we've got 15, yay, 15 people today. So it just shows me like the amount of people that we've got on X, we've got on Threads, we've got on YouTube is just really declining at the moment. So the market is really struggling. So if there's no retail, then there's no market. So, institutions can say, hey, we've got ETFs, we've got whatever, but retail buy those ETFs. And if no retail is buying the ETFs, then we just go sideways forever. It's just the same people just buying, selling, and just literally getting chopped up at the moment. The amount of traders that I've seen on X that have said that they've got chopped up and lost a lot of money over the last month is insane. So I hope you're all being careful out there, because it is really super choppy. Now, if we're looking at charts that potentially show us we're going into wars, we're going into that sort of thing, oil is one of them, crude oil. So, Iran is on the headlines again at the moment. So we've got Mexico burning down at the moment as well. So, one of the cartels got caught out there, and everything's on fire apparently in some of the areas. So if you're in Mexico, stay really safe, because it doesn't look fun to be in any of those. And I'm grateful that I'm in Australia a lot of the time, because when I see all of this stuff happening, I'm just going, whoa, it's a bit scary out there. So I digress, but I'm back to this oil chart. Now, this is coming up to either a decision point, which is our B or our wave one. So if it's a B, we're coming back down. We may not go all the way down to the bottom of that channel. We could go, quite fast down, and then about another bounce and have a D wave, which would be quite shallow at that point. So, that's the potential of this one. Breaking through them, we're sort of going, okay, hang on a sec, maybe something is starting to happen. We are coming up to those overbought territories. So once we do get to those points, we do have a major pullback on oil. So we're not far away from that. So I would say we're probably coming up, maybe tapping that channel, maybe just a wick through, and we're coming back down. So that then goes, okay, where's that liquidity flowing into? Is it coming back into risk assets? Or are we still sort of going sideways into the market? If you have a look at the big funds, if you have a look at Warren Buffett, a lot of those are sitting in cash. So, and it's not unusual that they do that at certain points in the market, but there's a lot of big whales in Wall Street sitting in cash at the moment. So, and that goes to my cryptic tweet that I put out, or post I put out the other day, about if you knew a plane was crashing, would you still buy the ticket, and would you board? So at the moment, I would be personally, I'm probably sitting in a lot of USDT. I am sitting in a lot of USDT. and I'm just waiting to see where we're going. I'm playing a few bounces. Actually, the last couple of weeks I haven't had too many trades, so there hasn't been a lot even alts going at the moment. So it's been quite difficult to even find like a small trade when it's just been this sideways bleed. DXY has also had a minor bounce, but we're still in this holding pattern where we're literally, this is probably building out a bear wave and then we're continuing down. So we should see that 94 in the coming sort of month or so, I would say, depending on what we get with this. Like Australia had a rate hike, so hopefully that doesn't reflect into the US market. They had some good CPI and that helped, but we need sort of a lot more momentum to kick in at the moment. So VIX is looking quite safe. We're not looking volatile here. So it is really just seeing what BTC does this week. This is a really pivotal week, I believe, especially with that FOMC meeting. So once we get those results and that information, then we should have a little bit more data. So by this time next week, as I was going to say, by this time next week, we could all be millionaires. but I love that show. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, so it is just sitting here sideways, so incredibly boring. And thank you to the 15 people who've joined me today. And that you guys are the die-hard crypto people. And once everyone else returns, the 485 extra people that I get normally on this show, then we will see some momentum happening. But at the moment, we're getting less and less people sort of in crypto and trading at the moment. So nice time to go and touch some grass, go and see some family and friends, and not be in the market. So yeah, sorry, I'm the bearer of not so great news. We're still in this maybe potentially more than likely dead cat bounce, and we could be just having a little bit of whale play coming up over this next week with that C wave completing. So let's see how that goes, and I'll update you on X and Threads, and of course getting started in crypto daily. So thanks for joining me, and I will catch you all soon.